what's something that you've recently bought that's made you a little bit happier? You know, you're like, oh, that's so cool. Like, and it could be
like every
price range.
I don't know if it makes me happier, but like everybody else, you just you sitting on Amazon that we have offer up. I mean, everybody has that. And here, I'll show you. Let's see.
Yeah.
This is really strange. So I'm big into coffee, hardcore. I make it every different way. I research how to make it. Every time I find a new way to do it, I do it. And I always remember when I was a kid, my mother used to make coffee in a percolator. And I once said, I want to try that, Mommy. And she poured me a cup and I drank. It was like, it was horrible with the bits of the coffee.
Yeah.
You know, and it probably would sit on the stove for hours. So I never thought of a percolator. To me, it was an anathema. It was like the word. And yet they still sell percolators. And because I've tried every way of coffee, I said, I'm going to try because this offer up. I found this percolator. This is a Farberware from, I don't know when, it could be the 60s, 70s. They're evergreen. They make them today and it's still the same thing. So it's just stamped out. This was invented at some point. So, however, when I make coffee, I know about grind. This is like the one thing I know. So I know about grind and water to coffee ratio, and I have scales and measure it. I'm nuts. Ooh. So I said, I bet with the kind of percolator that my mother had, if I do it with the proper ground size and the proper ratio to water, it'll be good. Well, it's not good. It's phenomenal. So, and this is boiling water, which when you watch these coffee snob blogs, they go, oh, can't use boiling. It has to be 195 to 206. It's an insomnia. If you go to 207, they'll come and kill you. It's not. Because this goes to 212, and I'm telling you, phenomenal. So what happens? I get addicted to it, and I start buying percolators. I have 3 of them now. This is the Cuisinart. This is the Farberware, and you have this one needs a different grind than this one because the screens inside. Anyway, the people that don't drink coffee. This is just the ranting of a psychotic person that has nothing to do. But those of you that are into coffee, I know what I'm talking about. You gotta go. These things are like $20 because their people pass away. They find them dead on the floor. The kid comes in to clean up and go, get this out of here. What do we do with it? Put it on offer up. Some schmuck will buy it. So they put it, they have no idea the worth of it. So they put it up and I get them for like $10, $15. These things are phenomenal. I would pay triple that for these things, but I don't. So
you're right. That was real. I remember growing up, that was the kind of coffee that they would make, the percolating. What do you think? Why was it so bad back then that people didn't?
Because our parents, God bless them, may they rest in peace, they use canned coffee. So it could have been canned during World War II and they bought it in 1970. It didn't matter to them. And then the size of the ground, it's just uniform when you buy canned coffee. So they put it in and then they would leave. This is an electric percolator, but some of these percolators that like my mother had, where you just put them on the stovetop. So my mother, you only boil these things if you're really an aficionado. This has its own timer and thermostat. But if I was going to do a non-electrical one, as soon as you hear the percolating, you go 5 minutes and then you take it off. But my mother, what did they know? They put it on to an hour later. Oh, I forgot the coffee. Let's have a coffee. And this is what they, I don't know. I guess my mother wasn't that into coffee or anything, but this is what made whoever did it in your head. I remember a story here. You'll get a kick out of this. There was a kid named Ricky. He was a guitar player, Ricky. I'm blanking on his name. This is in Connecticut. And I wasn't that friendly with him, but I needed something from him about a guitar because I used to play the bass and we were going to try to form a band. I went to his house and he came from like a family of very stoic, real white bread people. And it was like in February, it must have been like 20 degrees out. And his father was in the backyard. I grew up like in the country. His father was like chopping wood and the kettle was on the stove. The tea kettle was like, whistling. And the father with the hat and the weathered hands. I mean, he was probably maybe only in his 50s because to me, everybody was old when you're 16 years old. Weathered man, he came in and he just opened up the cupboard, took out Sanka. You remember like Sanka coffee? Yep. He just put it into a cup and he took the boiling water. right? Poured it into the cup, took the spoon. I'll never forget this, stirred it and put the spoon down and just went and drank the whole thing. And then walked back out with the axe to go chop down more trees. That sticks out in my head.
Pocket party.